Good afternoon, ladies, and welcome to our WomX Wednesday session. And as we end of the year, we have an amazing speaker today who's going to be speaking to us about all things financial and financial management. Please do join me in welcoming Fundiswa. She's going to switch on her camera in a few minutes as well. All of us with the joys of working from home, as you can hear in the background, we've got some feedback coming through. I just want to share a little bit more about who I am and what WomX is all about. My name is Jayshree Naidu, and I'm the founder of WomX. I'm also the CEO of a company called YIDI, which is the Youth Innovation Entrepreneurship Design Institute. Today, we're going to talk about all things finance to end the year, just giving you some financial tools and tips. More on WomX. WomX is a networking group for women in business. We have a WhatsApp group that some of you might be part of. We also have a community where we have networking events in Durban, Cape Town, and Johannesburg. And NetBank, together with Telkom and IBM Skills Build, are some of our partners and sponsors on the program. Last year, we launched, at the beginning of this year, we launched a WomX accelerator. We had over 360 applications and 150 women went through a structured accelerator, and 80 of them graduated from the program, having completed at least 6 of the modules that were delivered. This year, we've got another program coming up in 2024. We've got some new partners coming on board, so please watch our timelines. One of the partners is a UK-based company, and the other is a major DFI in South Africa that are coming on board as partners and sponsors to the program. So do keep an eye on that. And this session will be recorded. So for those of you that are joining us on our YouTube channel, welcome to this WomX Wednesday session, and catch up a little later on in terms of how all of us have been and what we've been up to. So Fundiswa, please switch on your camera. I know you and I have had a chat, and I'd like to hand over to you to take us through this section on financial management. Welcome, and welcome to the WomX community and family of women in business. As I said to you, a lot more will be joining. I'll admit them into the room, but this session will be shared via our YouTube channel as well. So over to you, Fundiswa.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon to all the wonderful ladies who have joined us today. I am actually excited because it's the festive season and we are going to be talking about money. And I guess everybody knows that in the beginning of the year, in each and every year, we all have something called New Year's resolutions. And some of the resolutions that we make actually include the goals that we want to achieve with our savings, with our investments. And some of us women are actually part of Stockveld, where we actually have our year-end goals and we know exactly what we are going to be looking at in terms of finances. So I think this is an amazing time to actually pause and look back to what we've done financially, the things that we've achieved, our financial achievements, our financial goals. That's number one. And also look forward again to actually saying, in 2024, what are the things that I'm going to be doing with my money? What are the things that I'm going to be doing differently? So as much as it's an end to one year, but it's also a start of a new year, a new beginning, where we actually are given another chance to make amazing decisions with our money. And just to give you a little bit of background of where I come from and who I am, yes, I am Fundiswa Zuma. I work for NetBank under a division called Financial Wellness. So our role is to actually educate consumers out there in all platforms, be it through our Zoom webinars, masterclasses, on radio, on TV, face-to-face, through workshops. We actually educate them on how to manage their finances. We are usually requested by anyone to actually come through, the same as WomX. And I'm very happy because I'm doing this for the second time with WomX. The first time was amazing. And I'm hoping all the ladies in this webinar again are still going to be amazing as my first experience. So we basically we are responsible for empowering our consumers with the right skills to make informed decisions about their finances and how to actually use bank products wisely. And before I actually start or jump into my presentation, I actually have a question when it comes to money, and I'd like everybody to actually type on the side to answer the question, to actually give us their answers or their feedback. And it's around feelings. How are you feeling about your financial health? Do you feel like you're financially healthy? Or you feel like you're not too sure, you've got anxiety when you think about money? Are you happy? What are those feelings? Please share your feelings around your money and your money habits and the relationship you have with money. Are you happy, generally happy? Do you have anxiety? Are you feeling feelings of shame, feelings of regret, looking back, looking back into 2023? Let us know what those feelings are, what kind of feelings you have with how you've managed and used your money, whether being on a personal level or in your business, because I know majority of us women on this platform actually own one business, if not more. What do you generally feel about how you've been using your money? And then would be able to actually kick in and actually please help me. Definitely anxiety. I see some of the chats coming through feeling anxious. I guess it's the feelings that we have, and they're okay. All these feelings are okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And what's very important here is that we need to be aware of the feelings that we have when it comes to our money and how we are using our money, because that then helps us to make decisions, moving forward. How can I feel less anxious? And, anxiety can be good and bad again. So depending on which angle we are coming from. So let's hear those feelings. Let's see those feelings being typed on the chat. How am I feeling? Let me think. How am I feeling when it comes to money? I think, oh yes, there's a positive one: excited, abundance, mindsets when it comes to money. Means you've been making the right decisions with your money. And when it comes to me, I'm feeling a bit not too great, but not too bad. I feel like I could have done better with my money. But then again, I also understand where it's coming from. There are so many things that just come up, unexpectedly. And it just forces you to actually divert and do things differently in another angle that you never thought of. So I'd also want to mention a few things before we actually go into the presentation. Number one, the three highlights when it comes to money. Money it affects, it actually touches our emotion. So look at your emotions and money. And there's usually a lot of people who have feelings of fear, guilt, shame, and envy. And it's very important for us to be aware of these feelings. And we must make sure that the feelings that we have when it comes to money, they do not override our rational thinking, meaning that they do not put us in a position where we make emotional decisions when it comes to money. And one of the things that we need to do firstly is to be aware of how we are feeling when it comes to money. Guilt, basically, for example, if you are feeling guilty, guilt can actually stem from maybe you felt like you overspent. That could be number one. Or number two, you would be feeling like maybe you did not donate more or you did not give back more to the community, and hence you are feeling guilty. So it's not really all that bad, or it's not all that negative when we are mentioning guilt. Again, anxiety. You could be anxious because you feel like you have lots of money, but you do not know how to use it wisely. You're scared that maybe any decision you make might not be leading you to the right direction. Again, so it's not as bad as it might sound. And then again, you might be feeling feelings of envy, which is very important again to actually be aware of. What kind of envy are you feeling? Are you envious of other people who you feel like they are doing more than what you also want to do more? And again, with envy, it's very tricky because that's why we find a lot of people now getting themselves into debts. They become over indebted. Why? Because of envy. Because Fundi is driving this kind of car, therefore I also need to do 3 times better than her. And then again, there's another feeling of fear. You fear that your money might not be enough, for the future. not for tomorrow or for in the next 20 years. You might feel like the money that you are making, it's okay for now, but you don't know 10 years later, looking at the rate of inflation, the way it's going up, the way everything is going up, food, fuel, the rates, the interest rates are just going up. And you fear that there's a lot that is actually changing when it comes to finances, and it's not going on a positive direction, but rather on a negative. So there's so many different feelings that we can feel about money. Again, maybe we are feeling happy and excited. Why? Because we feel like we are financially healthy. We are on the right track. And us being financially healthy does not mean we have lots of money or we are rich, but it basically means you have control. You are in control of your money. And so I'll just take a moment and look into 2023 and have a conversation with yourself. And also remember to not to be hard on yourself, because we've done so well. We've worked so hard. I believe each and every woman right here, every individual who has joined has done very well during this year. And you need to look back and give yourself a tap on the back and say, well done, you've done well. And 2024, we will do better. And then another feeling that you might have, or other types of emotions you might be feeling. Number one, your mental health and mental illness is very important. I always say that money affects you emotionally. It affects you. It has an impact on you physically, mentally, and emotionally. And your mental health and money is very important, because if we do not have our finances straight, if we are failing to manage our money, we are impacted and affected mentally. So we really, really need to be aware of our mental health and look at, is my relationship with money having a negative impact on my mental well-being? What am I doing wrong, and what can I do right for me to be in a better mental status? And these are the conversations you need to be having. And if you feel like you need to see a professional, definitely go and see a professional. Speak to a professional. You can speak to a therapist, but then again, you can also speak to a money expert, because sometimes I feel like when it comes to mental health, a lot of us actually go to therapy, but then again, we do not take it a step further to actually say, what now we are speaking to a financial expert to say, now, according to your expertise, what can I do? How can I get rid of these debts? How can I actually invest? Which is the right product to actually that I can use to meet my savings goal? Mental health is very important. And of course, other things that influence or impact the way we see money, or the relationship we have with money. The third one, which is very important, is family and childhood influences. Those are two very important things that we need to look at. The way we make decisions is influenced by how we grew up when it comes to our families, what kind of decisions they were making with their money. And for example, if you're growing up in a home where there's mom and dad, there's somebody who's in control of finances, who actually takes care of the admin, the bills at home. So the way how we grew up actually also impacts our relationships when you grow up. Now we also, automatically step into that type of role change. If at home my mother was the one managing finances, automatically I'd like to believe that when I get married as well, the same thing will happen. I should be the one managing finances. And also, what is talked about when it comes to money at home? And we know that a lot of families feel like it's very uncomfortable to have conversations about money, or sometimes they do have conversations about money, but it depends what kind of conversations they have. Because I know with majority of their families, the only time they speak about money is when there's going to be an event and everybody is actually discussing who's going to be contributing what, when, and how. But we do not actually have our day-to-day conversations with our bigger families, extended family, as to how can we manage our money wisely, how can we split budgets or share financial responsibilities. And again, how we assign money responsibilities. There's a way, again, according to gender, what males should do versus what we believe females should do. It also influences our relationship with money, because now as I grow up, I have an expectation that a man must, or as men grow up, they also have an expectation that women should, women must. It's because of the influences, the influence of our childhood. What did we see being done by the older generation? And of course, the famous one, the first person to succeed at home obviously will be the one responsible to take care of everybody at home as well. It also impacts the decisions we make with money. In fact, in most cases, it actually throws us out of the budget or our investment plans, because now I am the first one to be successful at home. There's an expectation that I should be giving back. But in all that being said, it's very important when it comes to family. It's very important for us to have financial boundaries. As much as if you are in that position where you are the first person to succeed, you need to be responsible for your family. You also need to know when to draw the line and set financial boundaries. It's very, very important. Jayshree, maybe what we can do before I can share my slides is we can go through the comments. Let's see what people have been saying. Please do share the comments there, and then we can move over to our presentation.
Sure, no problem, Fendi. So you're welcome to read through the comments. I think we've got some interesting ones. I'd also like to share, I had a session for my kids one day with a financial experts, because I think they're never too young or too old to get exposure to best practices when it comes to spending and spending patterns. And what I was quite surprised by was this affirmation that actually your behavior is what your kids actually then also reflect. And I was like, because, sometimes when you at a certain stage in your life and you walk into a store, you don't necessarily shop around, you buy what you need to buy. You don't look at the price of things. And I think it was my son that actually said, no, the habits I have is because of the way I was brought up. And that actually took me by surprise. And, it shows you that you have to have these conversations. And we've always had these dinner conversations on what are we doing with money, or, how are we spending it, or the type of business that we're in and what type of funds are coming in, and the obligations that we have. And for many families, it's taboo to have these conversations. But I think it's absolutely critical if we are to bring up kids, that actually think more seriously about money. And I remember my daughter telling me once, why don't they teach us how to actually save or invest or change a tire in school, instead of teaching us some concepts that we might never use in real life? So, yeah, I really agree with a lot of what you've said. I also like to suggest to the ladies, feel free to raise your hands or unmute and share some of your, epiphanies from what Fundisa has said, or if there's any stories you'd like to share at this stage, because I really do want us to have a conversation and apply some of what we're learning today as well. So if any of you have a comment, feel free to unmute, and I will direct the question to you. Or Fundisa, based on what you've seen on the chat, are there any comments you'd like to make?
Yes, I'll just read a few comments that the ladies have made. I see a lot of anxiousness from a lot of the queens. And we've got Sebolelo here saying, feeling drained from supporting my startup business, but it was all worth it. Yes, investments take a while, but it also needs discipline. So well done there. And then we have Andulela saying, agreed, money goes hand in hand with emotions. I feel I can manage it better and invest better for retirement. Quite a nice one there by Cookie. I'm praying next day I achieve that, and I sometimes fear when money comes into my hand. I pray God will give me wisdom to manage it well. Speaking about a very important point there, retirement. And if you actually look at, there are a couple of ads that Nedbank usually plays. And one of the things on the ad that they highlight is that 80% of South Africans will not retire comfortably, because we are not putting enough towards our retirement. And then again, we are not educated well enough for us to make the right decisions when it comes to preparing for retirement. And we see one of the trends when it comes to retirement, what we've seen being done by quite a couple of people is that when they get to retirement, that's the time they actually upgrade their lifestyle. Now you see Fundi is rocking up in a bigger car than what she used to drive while she was working. Now she's extending the house or adding more rooms, doing renovations, forgetting that Fundi will not be receiving the same kind of income that she was receiving when she was still working, or maybe when she was still running her business, because maybe she's no longer hands-on now, and my business are really, really dependent on me working, being on the ground. So let's really think about our retirement. How do we want to retire? What kind of life we want to live when we retire? And the decisions that we need to start making the decisions now, not when we are closer to retirement or when we are at retirement. So thank you for that one very much. So basically what we are going to be going through now, it's what we call money archetypes. So basically money archetypes, it's what Nedbank has come up with working with a psychologist to actually define the type of personalities and relationships we have with money. And we're going to start with just going through a couple of stats that actually say 3 out of 5 South Africans are living beyond their means. So one of the biggest influences when it comes to us spending our money is how we are living our life. And the majority of us actually live beyond our means, with, again, research confirming that 80% of, in fact, 90% of South Africans, actually, they run out of their salaries within the first 5 days after payday, meaning that if I get paid on the 25th, by the 30th, my money is gone, 80% of my salary is gone, and I'm only, for the rest of the month, I'm only surviving on a 20%. So I want you to think about it, and also, do a deep introspection to actually say, do I also live on a 20% for the rest of the month? And it's very important for us to have these questions. And if we are, then there's nothing wrong with us downgrading. We know that those are uncomfortable conversations to have, but there's definitely nothing wrong with downgrading and living within your means. Because if we are living beyond our means, that's one of the reasons why we get highly indebted, and that impacts negatively our mental well-being, our emotional well-being, our psychological, basically, well-being, just because of how we are managing our finances. And then the famous one, 80% of small businesses fail because of bad cash flow management. I know majority of us here are entrepreneurs. I'm hoping that we do not fall under this 80%. I am really praying that everyone of us here are actually on the other 20% who are actually managing our businesses. So the biggest reason is because we take some of our personal habits and we bring them into our business. You'd find a simple example. You'd find, a business owner using his business card to swipe for his personal things. You go to Checkers, you go to Lee's, and you're just swiping your business card, and you are not replacing the money back. You're not replacing it. You'd be like, no, I'll replace it. I'll transfer cash, but it really doesn't happen. It doesn't get down to that. So a lot of us do that. Or sometimes what happens is we use our personal finances to fund our businesses. And if that's what we are doing, then it means the business is not doing what it should be doing, what it's supposed to be doing. And we really need to actually take a deep dive and make, uncomfortable decisions to say, should I continue? Should I re-strategize? Or should I just start something totally new that can actually self-fund itself? And then the next stat says 1 in 3 South Africans have lost money investing in pyramid schemes. I don't know. Do we still invest in pyramid schemes? I get very worried with this one. We know that a lot of people have actually cashed out their pension, their provident fund, because they wanted to invest in some type of pyramid scheme. And I'm hoping that this has changed now in South Africa. And then 86% of South Africans have not adequately saved for retirement. That's another one, which we just touched not so long ago. And then the next thing that impacts or affects our relationship with money are the stories we heard about money while growing up. So a lot of people share stories about, growing up, maybe there was a neighbor that was rich, and then you hear them saying negative things negative things about that neighbor. He has a bad heart because they are rich. They are not nice people because they've got too much pride. All these stories, they actually make you resent, having money, because you'd end up feeling like, I will be a bad person if I have lots of money. It's because of the stories you are hearing being shared around you. And then, of course, religion. We know that in some religion would say, love of money is the root of all evil. And then you stay away from making lots of money because you feel like that's not what God wants from you. So these things have an influence on how we make decisions about money. And what we want to do is today, we want to make sure that you actually develop a good and better relationship with your money so that you can grow and you can understand your money. So as I go through the type of personalities, I encourage ladies to actually share it, type their comments to actually say, I feel like I'm a gifter. I think I'm a gifter. And then again, you can see a bit of yourself in more than one personality. You can be a gifter, but then when I move on to the next personality, you'd feel like, okay, I also think I have a bit of these traits, So you can share, let's have fun, let's relax. It's not one of those webinars where, oh my gosh, we just need her to speak and end. Let's interact, let's have fun. And also there are tips on what you can do better. So the first one being the gifter. A gifter is somebody who gives with strings attached. So there are positive things and, of course, the dark side of the gifter. Number one, a gifter is somebody who's a charismatic leader. As it says, gifter, they obviously love to spend on luxury, and they also like to being available as a financial support system or structure to others. And they also have potential to do good in the community. So this dark side of it is that they expect something in return, as it says, gifts with strings attached. So it's basically, those people, when they do something for you, they're not just doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, but it's because they're expecting something from you in return. And they would feel like they own you, meaning that, for example, if they find a job for you, they'd expect to be very nice to them and agree with all the opinions or suggestions they make. Otherwise, if you are disagreeing with them, they will remind you, hey, remember, I'm the one who got you this job, so you have to agree with me. So this really ends up, resulting in a very uncomfortable or unhealthy relationship, or even an abusive relationship. And I guess that's where we also find relationships where there's high GBV. And we know that we've been going through 16 days of activism. And if there's anybody who's going through that, I think we need to be aware of it, and also find the right help in all the right places. So again, with this unhealthy, abusive relationship, it's not just only romantically, but at work, at church, friendship, family. The relationship becomes unhealthy, because now, if you're a gifter, your family is supposed to agree with whatever you are suggesting. Otherwise, if they are disagreeing, then it means they won't be having lights, water, or they might not even be having a place to sleep because they are disagreeing with maybe the breadwinner or our provider at home. So again, the gifter would like to spend, over the top, just to ensure love, respect, and status. Is those kind of people who like to be respected. They buy love, and they love, high statuses. So it's those people who need to be acknowledged that, yes, this person did this for me. Because if you don't do that, then, it would feel like you are not appreciating what they are doing for you. Their blind spots is that they do not focus on saving and investment, saving for the future, which really, really puts them in a very uncomfortable financial position where if anything happens in future, they are not ready for the unexpected, for any emergencies, because their money, they use it for the satisfaction of that moment. What they can do, if you're a gifter, you need to prioritize what you spend your money on. As we're not saying stop being a gifter. So please, we love gifters. To a certain extent, don't stop being a gifter. But what you need to do is you just need to prioritize what you spend your money on. you need to have a financial plan. And if you don't know how to draw that financial plan, you need to speak to a financial planner, you need to speak to a professional, and you need to have a budget in place, which will actually help you save towards long term, and you can have financial security. Do we have any gifters here? No gifters. Nobody's coming to the front. Okay. So the next one is the big shot. Slightly different from the gifter. It's somebody who has money and will spend very loudly. So if you are a big shot, it's somebody who is successful and somebody who is self-made and likes to be the center of attention, center of attraction. So it's those people who would definitely arrive in style. They love luxury items, and it's people who are very popular in the community. Of course, they spend loudly. It's one of those people, when you bump into at a restaurant, they'll make sure that, and they decide to pay for your bill, they'll make sure that everybody knows that on the 20th of January, when I bumped into Fundisa, I paid for her bill. It's those people because they like to be praised for what they're doing. And they want to be popular because of what they can afford to do for other people. They can do good for the community. It's just that they have potential to live beyond their means, and they love chasing empty praises from people. I always make an example of our rich aunties and uncles. When they say in the family we have a rich auntie will make you feel that she has arrived. That moment she parks her BMW, she'll say, "Oh, you know what, guys? I've just drove 1,000 kilometers from Bloem or from Joburg with my brand new BMW. It's costed me over 2 million. Did you see the extras that I have there in my on my BMW? Go check it." They want you to know the price tag of everything they have, by all their financial assets. They will make you feel it. And I always say, be nice to the rich aunties and uncles because they make things happen. Especially if you're going to an event, make sure that you ask, who's your rich auntie here? Because you want to make sure you have the best spot if you befriend a rich auntie or a rich uncle. So the only sad part again is that they fail to channel their wealth, and they fail to secure a future and building a legacy. They'd rather live beyond their means to make sure that they remain as, the most successful person in the family. They can't be seen otherwise, because they need to be praised. They need to chase those empty praises. Emotional blind spots. They may have grown up without money. So you can see that it's emotional scars that might lead them to compulsion to be reaffirmed. It's those people who need reaffirmation. If they've done well, you need to say to them, "You've done well." Because maybe growing up, they never used to hear those words. And it goes back to what Jayashree was sharing earlier, the relationship that her kids have with money. So if we do not constantly affirm our kids, they will grow up looking for affirmation outside. So no matter how little the achievement is, we need to make sure that we tell them that you have done well, so that they grow up knowing that they are doing well and they are the best, and they don't find themselves doing things that will actually result in affirmation from sometimes even the wrong people. Because now what's going to happen is, if we have grown up like this, we'll end up attracting the wrong type of crowd, the wrong types of people, because now that's what I'm seeking from them. I'm seeking affirmation. And for me to find that affirmation, it means I need to spend on them to get that type of affirmation. So somebody, if you are also feeling like you are the big shot, go look for professional help, because, emotional scars, childhood trauma really, really becomes a problem when you grow up in how you spend your money. The blind spots for a big shot is the need for instant gratification, which means that there are no long-term plans. And again, you'll find yourself already over indebted because you want instant happiness. You want to be happy now, and you forget to prioritize the future. And then what you could do, use your wealth for good, have savings and investments, and pay off your debt. Stop making a lot of debt. Make sure that you still have savings in place, you still have investments in place. And then again, if you're a big shot, set a budget, have a budget in place and say, okay, for each and every month, I'll be a big shot, but I don't go beyond 10K. You need to have a set budget so that at least you feel good at the end of the month. You feel good about yourself, like, yes, eh, I got the attention or the attraction that I was looking for. But then again, you are not drowning in debt. You are ticking all the boxes because you've planned for it and you've budgeted for it. I hope we have our lovely big shots here. There's nothing wrong with big shots. Please type if you feel you may have a little bit of some big shotness. And then our third one is the carer. I'm sure a lot of us will say here we are the carers. The carer will beg or borrow to help you out. It's somebody who's very successful, self-made with roots in lack of wealth or poverty. They are the honest pillars of society. They support their immediate families and the community. It's those people that we say they have ubuntu. So it's that one person who'd even go to Mashonisa just to make sure, a loan shark, just to make sure that they give you money. They can't say no. It's the people that we say they do not have financial boundaries. It's the people we call our providers, our breadwinners, and they feel like they have to live up to that name of being a breadwinner, because if they don't do it, nobody else can. But if you are a carer, it's very important that you set financial boundaries. Otherwise, you will not see yourself grow because you do not have a plan on how you can grow yourself, how you can build wealth at the same time whilst assisting others. And our colleague always says, if you feel like you're a carer, you like helping people, again, have a budget for it. Every month, set a budget that, okay, for each and every month, I'll be able to assist with an X amount of money. Meaning that if Fundi comes, and let's say you make a decision and say, I'll be a helper for, don't go above 1,000 rand. So if Fundi comes and asks for 500 rand, you know that from your budget, you are only left to help up with a 500 rand. If somebody else comes and asks for 250, your balance is how much now? 250. And if somebody comes and asks for 400, you know that you tell them that unfortunately, I don't have 400 rands, but I still have 250 that I can give. And when I speak to carers, I always say that when you are helping people out with money, especially when it comes to friends or family, you must also be ready to lose that relationship when you ask for your money back. Because it becomes very uncomfortable when you ask for it back. It's either you are prepared to lose the relationship, number one, or number two, you are giving it away with no expectation of having it back. So you need to make sure that you understand the two, because every time when you come ask for money from people, there's always an emergency. We never say, I need money because I want to go out with my friends. It's a Friday. I will always think of an emergency that will make you want to give me money. But when it's time to give it back, it's still going to be difficult for me to give you money. I'll come up with excuses, which might, at the end of the day, end up having a negative impact on our relationship. So as a carer, it's very important we understand the two. Number one, it's either you're giving it away for free, you're giving people free money, and we have a budget for it. Or number two, when you need it back, you need to be prepared to actually lose the friendship, because every time when you need to pay back the money, for some reason, it just becomes an uncomfortable feeling. So a carer always sees a need to step in and help others, even if it means they put their needs first aside. They actually, at the expense of their family's happiness. And I think I also grew up watching that with my dad. My dad being a pastor, he always put his church and his church people first, and we always used to come, after. And it wasn't a nice, experience, because we'd want something from him. He wouldn't have it for us, but it would be readily available for anybody else outside of him, not only from his church, anyone, because he needs to live up to the name of being the community pastor. So again, if you're a carer, you have sense of guilt for having money when others don't have it. And remember, when we spoke earlier, we spoke about the emotions of guilt, feeling guilt. So here we see the carer having feelings of guilt. Why? Because they have money and others don't. And often carers feel like that. They'll feel bad for having a car that takes them to work, and the next person in the family don't have a car. They'll feel bad for having a new dress or their kids having new clothes whilst other people's kids don't have new clothes. And what they'll do is they'll usually use the money that they have to make sure that they buy clothes for everybody, which might affect or impact the quality of the clothes that they buy for the rest of the family, just because they want to make sure that everybody needs to be on the same level in terms of financial gains or financial things that they have. And when you do that as a carer, you are creating dependency by others. It means that you are not teaching people around you financial independence. And it's very important because this safety net or safety net you're building, or the safety cushion that you have built for other people, it's really not helping them in any way, but you are actually taking additional baggage that you shouldn't be taking in some instances. And I know a lot of people fight with me when I make this example to actually say you have a family and you have extended family. We have family and we have extended family. If you are a parent, your immediate family becomes your child. And then if you are married, your immediate family becomes your child, your husband, or your wife. And then your mother-in-law, your sisters, your brothers, and their kids, they fall under the extended family category. And people fight with me and say, how about my mother? She's not an extended family, she's my family. Yes, she's your family. But when it comes to priorities, your immediate family comes first. And if you are a carer, you should make sure that your family is happy first before you move on to the next category. Because if you don't do that, again, you're creating dependency, which you do not need. And at the expense of your family's happiness. So as a carer, create a plan, build wealth, have a budget for caring. This is how much I'm going to be caring. This is the amount I have to care for others. And if I can't go beyond that, that's what you should be doing as a carer. Any carers here? Do we have carers in the room? Let's see the hands.
Yes, according to our chat, we do. Sebolelo says she thinks she's a carer. Anusha says she's a carer. So Anusha, do you want to unmute, or Sebolelo unmute and tell us a little bit more about this caring that you're doing? Okay, maybe we'll come back to them. I see they're not unmuting. Or Sebolelo has unmuted. Yes.
You got me on this one. Not even funny, I'm laughing, but it's not funny because definitely I sometimes feel guilty that somebody does not have. I don't even want to know if that person is the enemy of his own life. For the fact that she or he got something that I don't have, and I would dig, even what I don't have, add to that. And sometimes it leaves me with frustration, if I can put it in that way. Like I go extra mile, I go too much beyond, if I can that way. So I really want to repent on that one and do things accordingly, because I cannot be feeling the way I feel, because I'm a community person. I always feel sorry for every person. So let alone like a community. Like I see somebody, you know what? If I can just have 100 rand, I want to go and buy the data so that I can be able to apply, just you buy. And the other one, young people, because I deal with a lot of young people. The other one tells me,
yes.
Yo, baby girl she has helped me with 100 rand. The other one comes. And, so I really want to, I need help on that one.
I was actually about to mention that, Sebolelo, that when you are a carer, what happens is now, I will direct other people to you now. I will say, go to Sebolelo. She helped me. You must go to her. And then
Definitely.
It's the same thing the following month. It's the same thing the next month. What happens? It means that I'll keep on making the bad financial decisions that I'm making, because I know there's always Sebolelo. And what happens with that is that I will gain financial growth, because I'm channeling my other funds to something else because I know there's Sebolelo who is taking care of A, B, C, and D. 6 months down the line, I've grown even way better or higher than you, and you're still way behind. Why? Because I've budgeted using you, basically.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you so much.
Yes. Do we have another one who wants to share? Please feel free. Okay. So while somebody else is thinking of sharing, I'm moving on to the next one, the penny pincher. Disclaimer. I think I am both the carer and the penny pincher. I think I have learned to. I was a penny pincher and I'm a bit of a carer. And I'll tell you why when we are done. What is a penny pincher? It's somebody who saves a penny just in case. It's somebody who's an expert when it comes to saving and hardly has debts. They are seldom prone to debts. They always have a financial plan for the future, always prepared for the worst. They are financially savvy, they are stable, and they are reliable and great providers. They have a plan in place. Penny pinchers, they always have a plan. They make sure that they save enough, whether it's for this year or next year. It's those people who want make sure that they have their financial independence. Even if when they are planning for something, they want to make sure that they do not budget on other people's finances, but rather whatever they get outside, it's just an addition to what they already have. So penny pinchers, money they have is not often enough and may become workaholics. I'm not a workaholic. I know when to switch off my laptop. I know I don't work weekends. I always make sure that I don't work weekends. With penny pinchers, it's difficult to spend money and they be missing out on life, frugal in spending and alienating loved ones. So what happens is with the penny pincher, it's one of those people who will be working double shifts, day shift and night shift, because they feel like they're not making enough money and they are scared of running out of money. That's another thing. Maybe it's because, they've been living a life where they did not have lots of money. They grew up in poverty and they feel like they don't want to go back to that side of life again. So they need to work hard to make sure that they don't experience that and their kids don't ever have to experience what they had went through. Or maybe they had money and they lost it. And we know that it happened with a lot of people during COVID. A lot of things were going well for so many people before COVID. And then COVID happened. A lot of the people lost so much. And after COVID, a lot of people are now working hard, twice as hard as they were working before, because they feel like they do not want to be in that dark corner that they've been to before COVID. And there's definitely nothing wrong with that. But if you're a penny pincher, you need to also balance life. You need to understand that you should be able to have fun in life. It's not always about the worst. Yes, we need to be prepared for emergencies, but look at the nice things that you've done. The good things that you've achieved. Look at your family, which are a blessing, and try spend time with them, and also acknowledge the great work that you've done. If you are a penny pincher, let's not only, yes, be good with numbers, stay out of debt, but also have a little fun. And I always say, if you're a penny pincher, if there's a financial goal that you have achieved, do something nice for yourself to actually congratulate yourself and motivate yourself to keep achieving other financial goals. You've achieved goal A, well done, you've done well. Take yourself out, whether either to a spa or you go on a holiday or you buy yourself something very nice. It's a once-off, you hardly do that. Do that so that you also learn to acknowledge and admire the good things that are around you. Again, if you're a penny pincher, identify the triggers that bring fear, around how we are spending money. And remember, I spoke about your emotions and money. And I guess for me, hence, since I said I'm a penny pincher, I had fear. So growing up, when it comes to maybe a lot of people could actually relate depending on the age. During high school, when they would go through the list of the kids who have paid school fees, I was always the last one. So the teachers would make all those who still owing school fees to stand up. And before they could even read my name, I was already up. I would stand up because I knew my name is definitely there in the list of all outstanding school fees. So when I started working, one of the things I said to myself was, I will save money for my kids' school fees. I do not want to see my kids being asked to stand up in front of the whole class because their parents have not paid school fees. So I put enough money to just cover school fees. I do not want to hear I don't want to see any email, any SMS, nothing to actually remind me that I owe school fees. So those are the things that actually, when we say identify your triggers that bring fear, those are the things that we are talking about. Look at what really brings fear. What are your triggers? And try work on them. And if you feel like on your own you are failing to do it, then go for professional help and talk about it, because this fear might be deep seated and you might not be able to solve it on your own. But then, as a penny pincher, create a budget plan to help them achieve. Create a budget plan to help achieve your things that you want to achieve, but also without feeling that you are wasting money. I got a bit of some penny pincher because I always have money to save. I always save money. I always put money aside because I don't want any stories around money and having debts. In fact, I just make sure I pay off my debts because I don't want to be reminded. I don't want that SMS or that phone call to actually say you've missed your payments. I've seen it and I don't want to go there. And then when it comes to a carer, I am a carer, but now I've set boundaries, because what I've seen was that family keeps on asking and asking. And if you never say no, well, people will always keep asking. And you can say no, but politely, and have plan B, and maybe make a suggestion. Why don't we do it like this? Not just say no and that's it, because you are teaching them again that next time when they're planning for something or when they are in need of something, this is how they need to approach it. So that is very important. You need to be aware of the personality that you have and also try to make it work for you and everyone else around you. Do we have any penny pinchers in the house? Jayashree, unfortunately, I can't see if there's anybody who's a penny pincher. So if
No one has admitted yet that they're a penny pincher. There might be someone in the room. Are any of you penny pinchers? Put your hands up or feel free to unmute and share with us why this resonates with you. We don't seem to have any takers. I think you scared them off with your description.
I know a lot of people get very scared to be called penny pinchers. Just because even I think the word itself, penny pincher, it's really scary. But until you deep dive, you understand that, okay, it's somebody who saves, but it's not all bad as long as you know where to draw the line. And then we're moving on to the risker. The risker is somebody who wins big or go home. That's what money is for. So it's somebody who's good with numbers, somebody who has potential to make money, somebody who can make tough decisions with their money, can take financial risks, huge financial risky investments. It's those people. We call them riskers. They may be very erratic with money. So when they have money, they feel like they need to be using it for something else to make them more money. Maybe and I always say, if you're a business person, then it means you are a risker. It means you're not scared of taking risks. But you also need to understand that you have potential to lose it all. That is why it's called a risk. And when you lose it all, you may be prone to depression, after the loss, and you might become unreliable when it comes to making regular payments. So again, with the risk, we can also say it's those people who are not scared of gambling. People who use their money as soon as they have access to money, they gamble it all. Because they feel like the money that they have should be bringing in more money through gambling or through pyramid schemes, what we actually spoken about earlier. Whenever there's some type of pyramid scheme, they put all their savings there, all their investments. And we know that with gambling and pyramid schemes, there's no guarantee of your money back, whether it's capital or it's the profits that you have made. So winning big becomes a drug to them. And it's like they want to keep going back for more and more. And when they lose, that's when they become prone to depression, and they want to take more crazier risks And we've seen it. We've seen people will gamble. I think there was a very famous movie where somebody gambled with just 50 rands and then or $50 and they lost it and they went and gambled with more. So the more they lose, the more risks, the more bigger risks they take. So if you started off gambling with just 100 rand, you'd want to go get 200 rand to gamble with, to also try cover for the loss that you've made with the previous 100 rand. And if you still lose that 200, you'd want to go find 500 rand to gamble with, and it keeps growing and growing and growing, because the only thing that you want is the next big win. And you may lose everything through that. And what also happens, you end up selling some of your personal items, like your furniture at home, your car, everything. And if there was a way you could sell your husband or your wife or your kids, I'm sure you would end up selling them, because you want money to go make more money, with the hope that when you have more money, you can actually go buy it back. So those are the riskers. And if you're a risker, and this is really, really important, you need to identify your risk triggers. What really triggers that behavior? Is it the people that you spend your time with? Is it your environment? Maybe your route to work or to your business goes past the casino, then it means you need to try and look for another route. If the route maybe goes past Hollywood Bets or Betway, try and take a different route. Or if it's an app, because now gambling has been brought very close to us through our cell phones, delete that app, because every time when you look at it, you'd want to go in, you'd want to deposit money, and you'd want to gamble. And also look for professional help. You need to find professional help if you feel like maybe this really has gone beyond what you could control. Because then what happens is, if you have financial commitments, you end up missing your payments, and that has a negative impact on your credit score. Not only on your credit score, but on the rest of the family again, because now you now have unhealthy relationships at home. You come back home depressed, and you are screaming and shouting at everyone. You are not having good relationships with the families and friends. And sometimes you'd find yourself borrowing money over and over again from the people that you love, and you're failing to pay the money back. Obviously, that relationship will be tarnished because of your risking habits. So if you're a risker, make sure that you actually find professional help, or you see help. Do we have any riskers here? Let's hear it from our riskers. By the way, if you own a business, whether you like it or not, you become a risker. So we are.
Andulela that has unmuted. Maybe Andulela, is there something you want to share with us?
I was waiting for an archetype, and when I saw Miska, I was like, that is me. That is so me. And I wouldn't even say I have a gambling issue. I would call it, I love taking risks in general. I quit my job and I started, my entrepreneurship journey. And for me, I thought 6 months down the line, I'd be making so much money that, I wouldn't need to worry, which is not the case, So I think the blind spots that you've highlighted, and the importance of actually just thinking, and having a plan. Because risk takers don't really have like a long-term plan. It's always I want to do it now. I want to take that risk. And I was in a toxic work environment. And I was like, there is an opportunity. I'm pretty sure that I can just risk it all. And I've done it a couple of times. And it's not easy because there is no plan that I had beyond the 3 months, right? So, but I mean, to be honest, I don't think I would have it any other way. But I just need to couple my risk taking now with a lot more planning. That's why, attending incubations and learning quite a lot has been assisting me in making sure that I at least come to a better place in my decision making with the risks that I want to take. So less high risks, but more medium risks now, Yeah.
Definitely. Business, when we start a business, we are taking a huge risk. And sometimes we think we had calculated, we have done all the maths, and we have everything is balancing, and we see ourselves in 3 months, I'll be there. In 6 months, I'll be there. We have all the projections, 12 months to 3 years, and only to find that things don't always go the way we had expected, not because we did not plan. So sometimes, even if we had planned, sometimes our plan is just not enough. And again, we can't be too hard on ourselves if we took a positive a risk that we know that eventually it will pay off. We don't have anybody else. Thank you so much, Andulela, for sharing. I don't think we have anybody else. We will move on to the dreamer. So the dreamer is somebody who has ideas, but they share their ideas with their friends, and their friends see an opportunity to make money. So a dreamer is somebody who's very creative. They always have great ideas, and they have potential, to bring change, not only for their community or society or for the whole world, but they always come in with solutions. How can they solve problems, and not just little problems, even big problems like climate change, the water crisis, all those type of problems. But the issue with them is that they are not driven by money. But they are appreciative of it. If they make some money, like, oh, okay, I didn't know I would make so much money. Anyways, it's fine. But it's okay. But I don't need the money. I just wanted to solve the problem. They are always on solution mode, and they like being an inspiration. They don't care how much they lose whilst coming up with a solution. They don't care how much they could be making out of that solution. They just want to see change, and they just want to be an inspiration to others. They do not monetize their ideas, and they refuse. It's against their values. They don't believe in money, because having lots of money might make them bad people. And they become so trusting of others, and sometimes they become, unrealistic and impractical when it comes to money. For example, when they maybe starting a certain type of business, they'll have people working for them, and they would not really sit down and look at the books. How much money am I making every month? They actually trust the person who's in control of the books, that they are being honest to them, because again, they feel like they might have their own mark. If I've made 3,000, I'm fine. I'll be able to pay for all the bills and the expenses. I don't need to know anything above 3,000. I just need 3,000 to survive, for my business to survive. Whether your business is making 10K or 20K, you don't care. As long as you have that 3,000 Rand, so that you can take care of all the expenses, and you see that there has been a solution. You've made a difference. You've made a change. Dreamers have deep-seated beliefs that money makes you a bad person, and resist making money. And they also allow others to swap in turn of their business ideas. So what happens with a dreamer is they'll come up with an idea and maybe not even initiate or action their idea. But because we've got people who are very good at implementing, they'll take their idea, and then 6 months down the line, you see Fundis was selling exactly the same products, same ingredients that you were sharing with her, but now she's the one making money. That's the dreamer. They have great ideas, but they never action. And sometimes they share it with their friends, and their friends see it as an opportunity to make money. I think a lot of us have gone through that, where we share ideas with people only to find that they are now actually implementing our ideas without us being involved or being part of it. So we might be dreamers, and then they focus on the outcome of their idea. They end up losing track on how to make money for themselves, and they may fail to assign value to their idea. So sometimes they undervalue, they underprice their goods. If you're selling goods, they'll underprice them because they feel like, I might be ripping people off, and only to find that they're actually underpricing their products, and just because they want other people to have access to the solution that they have provided. If you are a dreamer, what needs to inspire you is the amount of money you might be making out of that idea. You need to look for personal financial prosperity, so that you can be powerful, and you'll be able to make the world a better place. And you'll be able to make not just one, but plenty more solutions. You can bring plenty more solutions for the whole world to benefit from. Any dreamers here?
Yes, Sandulela says she's a dreamer and a risker. Do you want to share more, Sandulela?
Yes, yes, sure. Definitely a dreamer. I am a creative, and even with my business, I'm passionate about the environment. I'm passionate about seeing people eating healthy. I'm passionate about seeing people develop as individuals. So what you are saying, Fundiswa, about a dreamer talks to me. Money for me is not the end goal. I don't see myself riding a Rolls Royce, driving a Rolls Royce or anything like that. I see myself making an impact in society, making an impact in our environment, in our day-to-day, And I've seen like, hey, someone take my idea. And I was like, hi, Bo, and they were talking about it. And this person is like in a higher position than I am. And I was sharing a mentorship perspective to say, you know what, this is what I was thinking from a value proposition. This person is so big. And they were talking about my idea. And I was like, yo, hey, in a panel. But I let it go, because again, execution, I think as a dreamer, our execution is also different. We're not money driven, So yeah.
Yes, Andulela. Actually, your story just reminded me of this guy, the please call me guy, who actually failed to monetize, put value in that please call me service that not just one cellular network is using. All the cellular network providers, all the network providers are now using the please call me for all their customers, just because he was a dreamer, but he failed to actually put value into his idea. I think somebody wanted to say something else.
Fundiswa, I want to add something to this conversation because I get very nervous, and I understand that these are archetypes, but I get so nervous, when entrepreneurs say, no, but I'm not there to make money. I'm there to make a difference, because, we really do teach entrepreneurs to scale and be sustainable. And, the one thing I would love to share from our story perspective is we make a difference every day in the work that we do. But we do make money, and unashamedly so, because when you make money, you can make a difference. The only way we were able to launch WomX and support over 150 women in business through our foundation over the last year was because we made money. And as entrepreneurs, we also shouldn't feel guilty about making money, even if we are focusing on the social space, because they say you can only feed from a full cup. So that's one of the things, I want us to don't shy away from the fact that you should be making money for your business. You should be making enough money to secure your financial freedom, because you can only support your family or your extended family or the community that you want to service if you have the funds to do so. So that's just the one thing that, I just wanted to share. It was just, I needed to get that out.
Thank you so much, Jayashree, for that. There's definitely nothing wrong with making money. And then again, we also need to think that it's not only about us, but it's also about the next generation that is to come, after us. We need to make sure that the generation that is coming after us finds a very good financial foundation that has been set for them to get on the ground and start running, rather than getting on the ground only to find they need to take 3 steps backwards to now build a financially healthy society. And again, just like as Jayashree has mentioned, if you feel like your idea is bringing you money, even though that wasn't your goal, then start a foundation as well. You can take the money that you're making and direct it towards a foundation, and you know that you are actually helping others out there with the money that you are making out of the idea that you had come up with. And then thank you so much to everybody who has shared. We will move on to our seventh one, second last money archetype. We have 8, and this is the famous mattress banker. If anything happens to me, look under the floorboards. So this person does not trust financial institutions. It's those people who believe that if they put their money in the bank, when they need to withdraw, it would be less. They would have lost money instead of getting interest. They do not trust banks. They believe that only themselves can actually save their money the right way. They are good at saving, and they're very good with numbers. And this actually reminds me of my grandmother. She always had cash stashed somewhere. When we want something in the house, she'll say she has no money. But if a neighbor comes to borrow money, she'll just go into her bedroom and comes up with 100 rand note of like, but you said you don't have. She always has money. And mattress bankers, they want to see their hard and cash in their hands. They don't believe in putting their money in the bank. They want to see if it's 1,000 rand, they want all those banknotes in their hands. And then I don't know, it's the feeling of cash that excites them. I don't know if it even smells, because I see sometimes they bring their money closer to their nose. I guess money smells differently. That's they feel safe. They feel like their money is safer when it's under the mattress, and they know exactly how much money they keep there. You can't trick them and take a 10 rand and hope that they will not see that there's a 10 rand missing. They know how much money they've been saving under that mattress. They believe they don't need banks to count for them or to keep their money safely. They are financially responsible and independent. They never run out of cash. And they're very good at saying no, because they know what their money is for and why they're keeping it. And they're always prepared for the worst. Very secretive. They don't trust anyone. And they always expecting the worst. So they also lack a bit of generosity. Hence, I said they know how to say no. And their no is no. Whether you come there with an emergency, you come there crying or whatnot, they know. Their mistrust will prevent them, from good investment opportunities. We always say diversify your investment portfolio. Now, imagine you're keeping your money in the mattress, and now, as your sister, I decide to bless you with a brand new bed. You go to work, you come back, there's a surprise, there's a new bed for you. You'll be crying, but not tears of joy. Tears of thinking about the amount of money you had saved on your under the mattress. It's now gone. So we need to try and diversify our investment portfolio as mattress bankers. They can be very secretive as a mattress banker. It's those people who are very secretive and they don't trust anyone and everyone. And it might prevent them from developing meaningful relationships. It's those people, when you're asking them, like genuinely asking them, are you okay? Like, yes, I am. Why? No, before they even answer, why? Who told you something? You genuinely asking, are you okay? Why are you asking me that question? What did you hear? No, I'm just asking if you, because they don't trust that you are actually genuine and you really care about their well-being. They mistrust financial institutions, like I've said. They believe they are the ones who can do a good job in keeping their money, and they feel like their responsibility for their financial wealth is entirely on their shoulders. They believe they are the only ones who can actually make themselves wealthy. They don't need any financial institutions. As a mattress banker, if we do have a mattress banker here, you need to reassess your values and behaviors around money. And you should consider diversifying your portfolio and invest in secure wealth creation products. Build wealth. Building wealth takes time and discipline. And if you feel like you are putting away money so that you can create wealth or you can build wealth as a mattress banker, then keeping your money under the mattress is not the best way to actually keep your money. You need to consider other ways to keep your money. So any mattress bankers, I see the chats keep increasing here. We've got 21 chats. Do we have a hand saying, yes, I am the mattress banker?
Well, a lot of our ladies have said they know someone that has been a mattress banker. I think some of them have said, someone said their mum. So Sebolelo said, exactly, I've seen with my mother saving cash under the clothes. So we know someone for each one of these archetypes.
And there are rats, guys. The rats will eat all the money, and you finding just a piece of your 200 red notes. Let's keep our money in the paper. But even if we advise the mattress bankers, they won't listen. They'll pretend to listen and say yes, but they never. They're just happy with withdrawing all the cash and keeping them under their mattress. The last one is the social bonder. A social bonder is somebody who will trust anyone who wants to look after their money. They are great in creating powerful connections with social circles and are able to inspire people towards their vision for the world. They are baffled by people's obsession with money. So, social bonders really do not value money. They might have money, but they feel like money is there for us to spend. We should be spending money, and I should not be spending it alone. I should be spending it with anyone who's available for me to spend it with. That is why you'll find a lot of people around social bonders, as the name says, a social bonder. They want to be in social circles again because they are in those social circles because the people around them appreciate having them because they are the ones who get to take care of the bill. And bringing it back to our friendships or our little circles, whether at home or what's not, you might find that every time in a group, when you need to go out, there'll always be that person who'd say, if there's one person who cannot afford to pay for the bill, it's fine, I'll pay for that person's bill. Those are types of social bonders that we could think of. Like, no, it's fine, I'll cover the bill today. You can cover it the next time we go out. Only to find that even the next time when you go out, it's still the same person who's paying for the bill because they feel like that's what money. If I have money, then I should use it. Why am I keeping it? I know I have a friend of mine who, when we met, she did not see the value of money. Like she did not. So as a result, she would ask for money from people, but don't see a need to return it. Why? It's because people would ask for money from her, and she never asked for the money back. She has this belief that, no, if somebody needs money, I will give them money because I know that maybe 3 months or 6 months down the line, when I need money, I'll go to them and they'll give me money when I need it. But she did not realize that a lot of people kept asking over and over again for money from her, and she hardly asked for money from them. And she doesn't even ask them to bring it back. And at some point, she was like, I knew she borrowed money from one of her other friends, and she's like, oh, this person is calling me and asking me for her 200 rand back. What is 200 rand? Like, are you serious? Are you asking me to pay back 200 rand? So to her, the value of 200 rand is nothing. But to the next person, 200 rand is a lot. So she just did not understand why people actually call other people to ask for their money back until we had a discussion, until she heard me doing these sessions on radio. And she was like, now I understand where this is coming from. Each and every person has a relationship with their money, and it's different with the next person. That is why what is common sense to me might not be common to the next person, especially when it comes to money and how we use money. A social bonder, they lack financial awareness. Again, with this friend of mine, she got herself under debt review and she did not know what debt review was. She did not know. She came to me, celebrating, oh, friend, there's this cool thing called debt review. I've been struggling paying for my car, and there was no reason for her to struggle because she did not have a lot of financial commitment. But for some reason, she was struggling because she would run out of money because she keeps giving money to people and people never paid back. And she's celebrating like, no, my car will not be repossessed. I'm under debt review. They've negotiated my monthly installment. Until again, I explained to her, this is what debt review means. And still, I saw that it did not sink in until 3 months later, when the sheriff came to repossess the car. She was like, but I'm under debt review. They said they negotiated. And sheriff said, no, we haven't received any payment from you or your debt counselor. That's why we are here to repossess the car. It's because she lacked financial awareness. She lacked financial literacy, and they can easily become prey, to people in their social circles. And that's exactly what she was going through, because a lot of her friends, actually, she was an easier target to a lot of her social circles because she was easy with money. Their disinterested in money comes from never having been in control of money, no understanding how it works. Their lack of confidence makes it harder to stand up for their rights to be in charge of their financial destiny. So basically, it's not easier for them to make, future decisions with their money because they trust other people to make decisions for them when it comes to money. And again, we've got those people who, when they receive their salaries, they actually have their bank cards with their moms or dads, but they are working. They are the ones who wake up every morning and go to work. But when it comes to their salary, their bank cards, they don't keep their bank cards. Their parents actually give them transport money or allowance from their own salary. It can also, because social bonders trust other people with their money, and it's those people who actually love leaving money around or all around. You walk into their apartment or their house, there's money. There's money in their car, there's money in their jackets, there's money in their pants, there's money. They leaving this money stuff to someone else could cost them more. If you are a social bonder, you'd be costed more because now you do not have control. You don't see where your money is going, and their power would lie in them taking control. If you're a social bonder, you need to claim your power back, because now you have your friends making decisions about your money. You have your friends making decisions about where you should be going, your family making decisions about where you should be going, how you should be spending your money, what car you should be buying, where to buy the house, or whether you should be moving in or still staying at home. It's because you feel like you are not mature, financially mature enough to make decisions for yourself. So you'd rather rely on other people. And what a social bonder needs is education on basic money management principles. You need financial literacy if you're a social bonder. You need to be financially lit, and you need to know how to budget. You need to control and understand your money, and you also need to speak to somebody who's a financial expert on how you can actually control or save your money or use your money wisely. Because again, there's nothing wrong with asking for assistance. And the biggest mistake we make when it comes to money and advice, we actually ask people who are within our social circles instead of asking the professionals or the experts. And if you're asking somebody who's close to your parents or whoever, they'll give you advice based on their own personal experience, not the real advice you should be getting from a financial expert. Your parents will be advising you about money based on their own financial experience. Just to make an example, the first advice we would get, from our grandmothers and our parents when you start working, they always say, make sure you have a funeral plan, take a funeral policy. That's the first advice we usually get when we start working. Education loans, investments, and savings, they come after. It's because it's based on their own experience, where they experienced a death in the family and nobody had a funeral cover. So now they had to put money together or what's not. It's based on their own personal experience. It's very important that we ask the right experts, the right financial experts when it comes to dealing with money. So that comes to the end of our money archetype. Do we have a social bonder in the house?
Not according to the chat. Someone said Uncle Cyril, but I don't think so. Is there anyone that would like to unmute and share? What I found quite interesting, Fundisa, is I almost saw myself in a little bit of some of the archetypes. I'm sure that's possible, because can't relate to any one archetype that's all of me, but I did see myself in a couple of them. So it's good to work, I think, on those money blind spots and those money secrets, especially for those archetypes that we see ourselves in. And for those ladies on the call, or for those of you that are watching online, we will be sharing, you will see the slides as you go along. But Fundiso, I know you have some other slides that you might have wanted to share as well. But if you would like to close off your conversation in the next 5 minutes, that would be great. And then I'd love to hear from some of the ladies in terms of what if their key takeaways have been. I see we have Cheryl on the line. I know she's normally a little bit camera shy, but she's our financial expert that we use on a lot of our programs, giving when we deliver the financial module. So Cheryl, what did you think about some of the archetypes, and did you relate to any of them? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Hi, Jayesh. Yeah, you caught me in between working as well. Fundiswa, I want to say an excellent presentation. You broke it down so nicely in terms of all of the archetypes. Jayesh, you are spot on. A lot of us will have a little bit of each in us, and that's mainly dependent on the situation, upbringing. I laughed when Fundiswa mentioned that she's a pastor's kid. So am I, and I can relate so much to that. And as much as I've learned in my life to actually save and put away money, I still do that. I still give away a lot. So, your upbringing plays a very, very big part of who you are and what you do with your money. So, yeah, very exciting. I would love to take the assessment soon. But I think Jayesh is spot on in that we all have a little bit of each. So thank you for that valuable information. And it's a lot to take in, but I know over the next couple of weeks, and especially during this Christmas time, I think we need to become, what did you call it? Money pinchers. Oh,
penny pinchers.
One of the archetypes that where you need to become a little bit more prudent and protect your money during this Christmas season. Yeah, well done.
Penny pinchers, but this isn't to be giving, or but that's why I wanted us to have this session before we all just go wild. I'm talking to myself as well, and just overspend and eat into finances that we should be putting towards our business or ensuring that we have the cash flow. As businesses, we see it all the time where money habits are so important to run successful businesses. If you don't manage your cash flow properly, it's very difficult to grow and sustain a business and reinvest in your business. Because remember, the only way your business can grow is if you invest in the right tools and resources. And you cannot do that without funding. And you also cannot do that with very expensive funding if you have to borrow money instead of using the money that you're being paid for by clients to do the job you've been paid for, as well as reinvest in your resources and business. So for me, it was critical that we get this type of session before the festive season and before we all go away and do crazy things with our money. But Fundiswa, I'd love to hear, your closing thoughts as well on finance and financial management, and you're welcome to share any of the other slides as well before we actually hear from some of the ladies.
Thank you so much, Jayashree, and again, thank you so much, Cheryl, for such amazing feedback. I think it's Christmas, it's the festive season, and as you have said, it's a season for giving, and it's a season for us to celebrate and spend a lot of time with our families. As much as it's still a season of giving and celebration, we also need to make sure that we do not regret the decisions that we make during December, because again, we have a new year coming, 2024, and we need to make sure that we start on a good note and we make better informed financial decisions. And what do I mean by that? What I'm trying to say is we can still have fun, but let's have fun within our budgets. Let's set those financial boundaries. If we are saying no to the kids, maybe our kids want expensive holidays. Let's say no politely, nicely, but also have an alternative to actually say, instead of us going to an expensive restaurant, maybe why don't we cook, or maybe why don't we order in? Because when you go out, you are actually paying for the whole experience. But when you are ordering in, at least you know that you are minimizing so many other things. If you have access to things like the beach, you know the beach is free, you can have access to the beach. Suggest activities that are actually within your budget. And you'd find that your families would actually have more fun and enjoy the things that are more cheaper than the things that need lots of money. Stay within your budget. And also, we know that it's December. Others are actually, getting money from their stockpiles or their stock orders, their investments, their savings for December since Jan. But again, make sure that with those investments, you do not invest to spend. Let's invest to grow. Let's invest to build wealth instead of just focusing on December. Yes, we can still have fun, but also why don't we take it a step further and also invest for the future? Our 12 months worth of savings, let's make sure it doesn't go down the drain. And also what is very important, and I always say, let's try help each other, assist each other in one way or another. If I'm taking my kids over to my sister's or my brother's house for the holidays, I must also be proactive and ask, how can I assist with? Why don't I contribute in groceries? Why don't I contribute with money when, rent or buying electricity for them? Because the kids are going to be using water. They're going to be more electricity being used with a bigger number, more food. So contribute a little as well. If you're having kids over, your nieces and nephews again, also, because I know we feel very bad and very shy about asking for assistance. There's nothing wrong. You can bring your kids, because some of us love hosting, but also there's nothing wrong with asking for a little bit of help. Don't feel bad for asking for a little bit of help during the festive season, because come January, you are left alone with a huge bill that you need to pay, and now you do not know where to go. It's very important. Let's all have fun. If you're taking the kids over, remember, ask how you can assist. What can you assist with? And again, if you have kids coming over or people coming over, don't be scared to actually say, you know what, also can you bring what 1, 2, and 3? And especially if you know that it's within their means. I'm not saying now go, because again, we're not all in the same financial status as families or as friends. I'm not saying now go and harass the people that are less fortunate to actually say, what are you bringing? Are you bringing food? Or lights are expensive, water is expensive. Because again, how you deliver a message, your tone makes a huge difference, especially when it comes to money. Money is a very sensitive topic to actually touch on, but let's also make sure that we are helping each other here and there. And if you do not want to spend, I was actually sharing earlier with Jayashree that I am working till the 22nd, but I know with my family, the festivities have started already. It's not even the 25th already. So strategically, so I am working strategically so that I don't find myself in environments where I have to spend, because I feel bad when I see that there's something missing that needs somebody to pay for or buy. So what I have done is I will work so that I don't find myself in corners or spaces where I end up spending money that I shouldn't be spending. I'm going to work until the last day. And then when it's time for us to go, then we will meet. And then I spend within my limits. So that's very important. Have a budget for December and stay within your budget. And lastly, again, it's that year. It's that time of the year. We're looking back. We are reflecting. Let's celebrate your own winnings. Because sometimes, especially as women, we always want to be celebrated by the next. Thank you, Sebolelo. Loving my strategy. I stay away from those environments. I really do stay away. And if there's a volunteer somebody who's willing to take the kids somewhere, what's not, I will gladly say, take the kids. How much do you need? And I'm going to be contributing what is within my means. Because if I go there now, I'm going to start seeing other things. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? So let's let's work until the last day to stay away from unnecessary spending. It's December. We need to pens down, laptops down, everything we've done so well for ourselves. You as a woman need to pat yourself in the back. And because women, we always focusing on everybody that's around us, and we forget, we neglect the inner child that is within you. So take this moment to look back. What have you done for yourself? What would you like to do for yourself? your hard work, and celebrate those little winnings. And your savings, make sure that you always set financial goals for yourself for each and every year that you start. And now I'm moving on. I've spoken about 2023. Now let's look at 2024. Make sure that you set financial goals for yourself before the year even starts, so that you know the time. I've got so much time, and this is what I have in my bucket, and this is how long I need to actually achieve this. Have a list, write things down. I was shocked. I had a list of 7 things. In 2014, I was an intern. I was doing an internship in 2014, and I came across that list last year that I wrote. At that time, I did not know it was called financial goals setting or financial planning. I was just writing a wish list. Even the heading says at the top, wish list. And you'll be shocked that out of the 7 things that I had written, I had achieved 6, and 1 is pending. And I've also achieved more or over and above what I had written down. So I'm just speaking about the power of setting financial goals for yourself, that it really, really works out, because you've made a commitment to yourself to actually say, these are the things I want to do for myself. And 5 years later, you'll look back and realize that you've actually achieved more than what you had set yourself out for. And the same thing that you do when studying for an exam. When we are studying for an exam, we do not study for a 50% mark, but we are studying for 100 or a 90%. Why? So that if at least I do not get a 90, I'm actually falling somewhere along the 70s and the 60s, but I don't fail. Because if I actually study for a 50, it means I might get a 30 or a 40. It's the same thing with our financial goals. It's very important to set our financial goals very high, so that if we do not reach that very, very high status that we had set ourselves, at least we are still achieving. It does not mean we fail. It's just that we did not achieve to the level that we had set ourselves for. That's my last message in closing, that make sure that you have your financial goal put in place, and each and every year there needs to be something that you are ticking off from that list, from that financial goal setting list that you have. And it must not only be for a year, but how is your year going to be looking like after 3 years? How will your year be looking like after 5 years? We spoke about retirement earlier. We do not start thinking about retirement when we are closer to retirement. We start having those conversations now. Do I see myself paying for school fees after retirement? Do I see myself buying nappies? You start making all those decisions now. Do I want to travel? You start putting enough money aside. We do not wait for that moment to happen, but we start planning. And I always say that decisions that we make lead to the life we live, meaning that the lives that we are living now we actually living them because of the decisions we took 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. So it's very, very important to look at the decisions we are making with money. And that's my last word. My last word. Remember, the decisions that we are making with money already is living our destiny that we are still gonna get to. Thank you so much, Jayshree, and thank you so much for everybody who has joined us. And I hope we really have took something from our webinar today, and we are definitely going to start 2024 with a very, very high note.
Wow, thank you so much, Fundiswa. That was absolutely amazing. I loved your energy and your nuggets of wisdom. I put a post on LinkedIn earlier and I said, the best time to make the right funding or financial decisions was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now. So, it's never too late to make the right decisions when it comes to managing your money and setting yourself up for success, both, professionally and personally, and for your loved ones, that you leave behind as well. So with that, I'd love to hear from some of the ladies. Let's reflect on 2023. Let's reflect on the year that was. I know we had some of our cohort on the line. I see they have left the call as well. But for those of you that are on the line, please feel free to share some of your highlights of the year with us. And if you're camera shy, that's also okay. You can just put your microphone on. So any ladies want to share with us what have been some of their highlights, and what advice would you give us as we end this year as women in business? What are some of your key learnings and takeaways that you've had for 2023? So let's see, anyone want to unmute and share with us? What has been the best thing that's happened to you, Fundiswa, on a personal or professional level this year?
Oh my. Okay, that's quite a very big question you're asking there. It sounds very easy, but it's very, very difficult. But I think it's good that you're asking me that question, because every time when we're speaking as professionals coming from financial institutions, sometimes we might sound a bit too unrealistic, because we might be trying to set that face that I'm coming from a financial institution and I practice what I preach and what's not. But I think it's very important for me to share my journey, my financial journey. Um, so I'm going to just try summarize as quickly as I could. Growing up with siblings of five, so we were six altogether, three brothers and three boys and three girls. Um, all of my siblings are married, being a pastor's kid, remember? And I'm the only one who's not married, intentionally so, because when you're a pastor's kid, trust me, there's marriage left, right, and center. You go forward, somebody wants to marry you backwards. But for me, I made a personal decision. I had things that I wanted to achieve. And one of the things that I wanted to have was a home, and I wanted to have a house for my kids. That's one thing I always wanted to do. I set myself goals to actually say, I want to be the first graduate. I want to be the first person at home to buy a house. I've set myself financial goals. So what I did was, with my internship, as I started my internship, I saved money. I had debts, I had credit accounts. I only earned 4.5, and I don't know how I managed to pay for some of the things that I paid for, but still managed to look good and still managed to save money. By the time I started working, my plan was not to buy a car, but because of the nature of the job that I was doing, I was required to have a personal car. I bought a car, a car that I could have afforded a bigger car, but I chose to buy a car brand new, same year model, but I wanted a car that I could pay off quicker, because I had another financial goal that I wanted to achieve. So I bought a car, and I paid up my car within 2 years and 6 months, because I was saving. I diversified my investment portfolio. I was part of a stokvel, that rotating stokvel where every month it goes to somebody every month. And then I was part of a stokvel that we get our money in December. And then I also had a stop order at the bank. So each and every year I would take my savings and just put it towards my car every year. And I had initially said I want to take 3 years to buy a car. I mean, to pay off my car, but I actually took 2 years and 6 months. And then my next goal was, I would actually want to be the first woman to buy herself property at home from all my siblings. And I did. Uh, Again, I set myself a goal. I said at the age of 30, I should have property. And again, I bought myself property. I was the first woman to buy myself property. And I was the youngest at home to buy themselves property. So I had just milestones that I wanted to achieve. And where I am in terms of my financial achievements, I'm very happy, because I don't have debt. I moved on to say, okay, now I've done all these things. What next do I do? And then I started my little side hustle, and it has done so well. Just that during COVID, everything had to change, and I had to put a lot of things on hold. But I had milestones that I wanted to actually get through or achieve. And I think that's what is very important in this journey, that you really need to know that you are running your own race. You are not competing with anybody but yourself. You can have your siblings, but it's very important to know that you are not the same. You might be from the same parents, but what you'd want to achieve with your life is not the same. Have those things in place. Separate your family goals from your own individual goals. What do you want to achieve as an individual, and what are the things that you want to do for your family? That is very important, because we forget. We always get absorbed by the things we want to do for our families, to an extent or to a point where we delay our own success or our own financial goals. So my journey has been very good through all that. And like I said, I was I grew up with this thing that I don't want my child to also go through what I went through when it comes to school fees. So those are all the little tick box exercises that for me, it's financial health. It means I am financially healthy and I have financial freedom. And that's what financial freedom is. That's what being financially healthy is. Because a lot of the times we think being financially healthy or having financial freedom means you are rich, you have money. But being financially healthy and having financial freedom means you are in control of your situation and you are not living beyond your means. I don't live beyond my means. I live within my means. I don't have debts that I can't afford to pay for. I have debts that I am intentional about, and I have a plan on when I'm going to get rid of those debts. And that is very important. There's a difference between affording and qualifying for something. And a lot of us get absorbed by what we are qualifying for. You can qualify for a 500,000 Rand car, but it might not mean you can afford that car. You might qualify for a million Rand house, but can you afford? So do not do things for the likes of other people, but do things for yourself and do what you can afford, because people will never be happy, will never be pleased. But one important person that needs to be happy is you. Set those financial boundaries. My last advice, when it comes to family, set those financial boundaries. Families sometimes don't love us. They love what we have. They love what we are coming with. They love our money. The day you set those financial boundaries, that's the day they'll start calling you name. Stingy, stingy this, stingy that. But it's very important for you to set those financial boundaries. Otherwise, you'd never be able to achieve your financial goals if you don't have those boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fundiswa. I have my hubby here and he's nodding his head. So he's in total agreement. I think we've come to the end of our session. Unless any of the ladies have anything they'd like to contribute, I'll wait to see if you switch your microphones on. We've got some beautiful comments in the chat. Just words of gratitude for your time and effort today, Fundiswa. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone for participating. And for those of you that are watching online, I hope this message reaches you in time, and I hope you take your money matters seriously. And remember, there's a whole psychology behind money and money spending. So thank you for giving us some insight into the space, Fundiswa. To all of you ladies, have a wonderful, wonderful festive season and stay blessed. And thank you so much for joining us online and in person. Thanks, Fundiswa. Bye, everyone.
Thank you to all the ladies. Bye.
Thank you so much, Fundiswa. Thank you, Jayshree, for organizing this.
Thank you, Queens.
Thank you so much, Andulela.